At the International Conference on 50 years of the Biological Weapons Convention, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has warned that bioterrorism is no longer a distant threat but a serious concern. Speaking on strengthening biosecurity for the Global South, Dr. Jaishankar highlighted India's leadership, pointing out that another Indian resolution to prevent terrorists from acquiring weapons of mass destruction, including nuclear arms, was adopted by consensus at the UN. He stressed that the BWC still lacks basic institutional structure and verification mechanisms suited for today's world, calling the misuse of biological agents by non-state actors a real risk. The EAM urged the international community to bridge these critical gaps, strengthen compliance and ensure governance keeps pace with rapid scientific advancements. Let's listen in.
Now, not only is India a party to the multilateral treaties of the BWC and the CWC, but also an active member of 3 multilateral key export control regimes: the Wassenaar Arrangement, the Missile Technology Control Regime, and the Australia Group. As you all know, the Australia Group is the most pertinent to this conference since it relates to controls on dual-use chemicals, biological materials, and related items. In fact, this year marks the 40th anniversary of the Australia Group, and we are happy to have the AG chair with us. So, as we look ahead, we must assess the developments underway, which are outpacing the existing governance and normative frameworks. Scientific tools are evolving faster than global rules. Synthetic biology, genome editing, and AI-driven design make biological manipulation easier than.
All right, I have Aditya Vadhavan joining me with more details. Aditya, what more can you tell us?
Well, as far as Vishali, as far as Foreign Minister Jaishankar's comment at this biosecurity is concerned, definitely, the biosecurity, the bioterrorism, another form of terrorism that the globe has witnessed in the recent years. We saw how the Chinese Communist Party, spreaded those COVID-19 in the year 2022. So this was a type of, the bioterrorism which, the globe saw, which, so many people worldwide died due to COVID-19 pandemics. So indeed, these are somehow, in fact, if you see, this biosecurity convention in many countries in the world have some dangerous, very, very dangerous pathogens, that could be life-threatening, and there are some protocols, as to by which, how much quantity can the countries keep those bioweapons, considering the fact that, virus is one of the most lethal bioweapon in the current modern day era. So indeed, Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar has, tried, through his comments, has attempted to bring the attention of the world to the safety, to the threat that the bioterrorism poses to the world. Indeed, we have seen in the recent years how several pandemics, have happened on the planet Earth. So indeed, at this convention, at this conference, when Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar was speaking, there is a strong need to have laws, that enforces the country, to adhere to the rules as far as the biosecurity protocols are concerned. Indeed, at this critical juncture, it is very, very essential as to how, considering the fact that, there are, particularly we talk about China, the biosecurity, it does, the deadly diseases like COVID, such many pandemics pose a threat to the global, to the entire globe. And indeed, it is time that, there are strict measures as far as the bioterrorism is concerned. Vishali.
All right, Aditya, stay on with me. Now, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, addressing the International Conference on 50 years of the Biological Weapons Convention, issued a stark reminder: fragile healthcare, weak surveillance, limited labs, slow emergency response, and unequal access to vaccines in many global South nations are not just developmental challenges, they are global security risks. If biosecurity is uneven, global safety is compromised, he warned. Dr. S. Jaishankar asserted that the Global South remains the most vulnerable to biological threats, yet has the most to gain from stronger biosecurity. And crucially, the most to contribute. Its voice, he said, must shape the next 50 years of the BWC, reaffirming India's commitment. The EAM declared, India recognizes this responsibility and stands fully committed to the effective implementation of the Biological Weapons Convention. Let's listen in.
Many countries in our regions still face gaps, deep gaps, fragile healthcare, weak surveillance, limited laboratories, slow emergency response, and unequal access to vaccines and medicines. These are not just developmental issues, they are also global risks. If biosecurity is uneven, so is global safety. The global south is the most vulnerable and has the most to gain from stronger biosecurity. It also has the most to contribute. Its voice must therefore shape the next 50 years of the BWC. India recognizes this responsibility. India remains committed to full and effective implementation of the BWC. Over the last 2 decades, we have built strong capacities across public health, pharmaceuticals, vaccines, and bio.
All right, I have Aditya back with me. Aditya, we just played out that from S. Jaishankar. What more can you tell us?
Well, absolutely, Vishali. When if you see, when Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar talks about this biological weapons convention, indeed, it is a very, very essential thing, that needs to be implemented across the globe. And very particularly, if we talk about the global south, which means that the developing world is very prone to a bioterrorism. So indeed, he is very, very apt in saying that we have seen. Particularly if we talk about the developing nations, some of the African nations that have been, dealing with several deadly pandemics and, polio. And we have seen that, that the global south is grappling with these biosecurity issues. We saw, the very live example of this biosecurity, bioterrorism is that, that during the year 2020, as per some conspiracy, as per some theories, this lab leak, this COVID virus leak from the Wuhan Virology Institute. So indeed, all these measures are taken in accordance, when the biosecurity measures are, when the biosecurity is referred, and there has to be definitely a strong safeguard, to prevent any instance of bioterrorism in the future. Definitely, the Biological Weapons Convention is very, very essential thing that the Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar mentioned during his address at the international conference. And worldwide, the vaccines, we saw how during the COVID pandemic, India emerged as a vaccine
Aditya, stay on with me.